Awesome. So, hey, Luke, Beck, can you guys hand out those forms for me? We're going to do a little bit of homework before we even start. Is that cool? And while those forms are getting handed out, I'll just share a little bit about me. I've been doing this thing for over 20 years now. I won't stand in front of that light. I'll make it easier for you guys. So yeah, and like Luke said, I've been fortunate enough. I've spoken all around the world about LinkedIn, networking, small business. And essentially what I do is I'm what you would probably call a small business marketing coach. We help you with the softwares, the systems and the support, right? And my goal is to help you go and add your next 6 figures to your business, okay? So that's my mission tonight, is to give you some ideas, some thoughts that you can actually extract from what we're going to talk about tonight, so that you can go and add a next 6 figures in your business from like networking, right? How many of you would like to add 6 figures to your business from networking? Only a couple. Cool. We're in the wrong room. That's okay. All right, how are we going? These forms handed out. Everyone hold up a form. I want to make sure I can see it all in your hands. Amazing. So what I want you to do is turn to the page that has like a whole text of writing. Yep, that's it, on the back. And it's your commitment to you. Right, so I'm going to read it out and I want you to fill in and follow these instructions. So John's school teacher right now. So you just, as great students, you pick up your pen and you do what I ask you to do. Would that be okay? Please comply. It's just put on a mask. You'll be okay, right? It's the same thing, okay? So I want you to go I and then put in your name. I, Steve Plummer, right? Take full responsibility for extracting value from tonight's workshop and the information that John continues to share with me, right? Because guess what? I'm going to share more information with you after tonight, okay? Because we're only got like 30 minutes or so together. I understand that I am the only person, right? I should have underlined that, bolded it and everything. I'm the only person responsible for the outcomes I achieve in my business, good or bad, right? Okay, and I acknowledge that to grow my business, I must commit to daily consistent actions, the dumb and boring stuff, right? These actions over time form the cornerstone of my success. Would we all agree with that? Right, so get your pens, put your name in there, and then down the bottom, I just want you to do this now, where it says name, print clearly your name. Where it says email, print clearly your email, and then sign it. Okay, guess what? I am going to collect these, okay, at the end of the session. It's okay. You're not going to get spammed. It's all good because I want to actually help you guys out. Would that be fair? Would that be okay with everyone? Perfect. All right, so once you've done that, let me know. I'm going to give you all a minute. Fantastic. All right, we've mastered number 1. So what I want you now to do is we're going to be running over a few things tonight and we'll get there. If you flip over that card, you'll notice that there's essentially 3 core areas that we're going to be talking about tonight. One of them's around math, one of them's around systems, and then one of them's around rhythm. So we're going to stop at the end of each of these sessions and I want you to just think about what a key takeaway is or something that you can actually work on in that area when we get to that point. Okay, and then there's a nice little checkbox there. If you'd like me to share some more resources with you, specifically about that thing, let me know, right? Once again, I'm here to help you, but it's up to you to extract the help, right? So does this sound familiar? Networking is my primary source of lead generation strategies. I attend at least one networking event each week and I allocate substantial time attending events and following up with the people I meet. I hope this will help me build my business. How many of you can relate to that, right? You might be doing 2 networking events, maybe it's 1 networking event a month, whatever that is. But as small businesses, micro businesses, medium businesses, networking forms a vital part, right? I'm sure we could all, that's why we're here, right? The second thing, I want you to, can you relate to this? If I only had more time with people that I could follow up, but I often feel overwhelmed and I don't want to be perceived as pushy or salesy. How many of you right now sometimes are like, I don't want to be perceived as salesy. I'm not going to send that email or I'm not going to make that call, or they might unsubscribe if I send them something, right? I hear it all the time. There we go. Be honest with yourself. I really don't know what to say. I hear this one all the time. How do I just reply to this message? Or how do I convey that message? across there. So this is when it comes to networking. How do I get my elevator pitch to really land, right? How do we then follow up and make sure that what we actually spoke about when we actually had a one-on-one conversation at the networking event, how do I relay that back so I sound knowledgeable, so I sounded that I actually cared, right? So I want you to think about this. Quick note, you know this form that I spoke about? When you write down your takeaway or the things that you're going to be wanting to work on, that's going to help me help you. It's going to help me be relatable, and it'll be like, hey, Robert, remember when you said at that networking event, this was the thing about the math? Oh, great. This is how we might be able to tackle that problem together, right? So this is what I just want you to think about, okay? This, as we go through tonight. Did that go through? No, there we go. Cool. Small business owners' beliefs. Okay. This is a huge one. Huge one. Many small business owners view networking purely as relationship building. Okay? If that's where you're at, I'm sorry to say, but you are wrong. Okay? It's the wrong way to look at it, and I know that can be a strong word, but it is the wrong way to look at it. All right? It's not all about relationship building exercise. They often believe that building networks is about getting to know people on that personal level without necessarily focusing on business outcomes. If you go that process, this is why you will have very limited results from networking. How many of us experienced that? We've been to a networking function, it was great. We had some fantastic conversations. We had a beer with somebody, or wine or a water, had a great chat, and then it went nowhere. And then weeks and months later, you're like, man, I networked my ass off last month. I met all of these people and my bank account is negative compared to where it should be, right? Unfortunately, that's the reality for most people, okay? And it's not that you went potentially to the wrong events, or maybe so it could be in some circumstances, but it's the perception of why you went to the networking event, okay? And the structure of how we went to networking, right? So the reality check is this, right? While relationships are important, and I'm definitely not saying that relationships aren't important, okay? While they're important, what's actually more important is network should be seen as a strategic sales exercise. Is it okay if we just cut the bullshit, right? We're all in business, right? Would it be fair to say that we all would like to make some extra coin, some extra money? We've probably got bills to pay, maybe mortgages to pay, maybe kids to put through school, maybe retirement to plan for, inflation's going through the roof, need more money for retirement to plan for. So let's cut the crap. We all know that we want to do business, yeah? And be okay with that. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just about how do we find the right people that we can do some business with? How do we solve those problems, right? It might be, for example, myself and Luke, we may never do business directly together, although we do, but Luke could be a conduit, or I could be a conduit to Luke, to that next massive deal, right? So this is what we need to be thinking about. So the goal needs to be leads, build connections, and ultimately drive revenue, right? That's what it's there for. And I think it's an Australian thing. If you go to the US, it is clear as day that we are there to do business, right? How many of you really need more friends? Like, don't get me wrong, it's great to connect with other people and have that, but how many of you really need more friends, like really good friends, you know? Okay, a couple of you, all right, sweet. But what most of us really need is we need conversations with the right calibre of people that we can help, right? Or that we can utilise those conversations and those connections to go and help more people. And through that, we make more money, right? Fair enough? Is that okay? Is anyone taken back by that statement? And if you are, it's okay. It's a you problem, just so we're clear, yeah? Be aware of it. No, I'm serious, because you need to be aware of it, because this could be the thing holding you back, right? This is the thing. I'm saying this. I'm okay being the asshole if it helps you move forward. Yeah? I say that seriously and sincerely, right? Cool. All right, let's jump into it. So networking, it's all about the math. How many of us love math? All the accountants put their hands up in the room. No. Math is great. And let's be clear. When it comes to business, it's all about the math. If the math does not stack up, why do you do it? It is no different to a networking event. Okay, so how many of you right now, and be honest with yourself, and it's okay if you're not doing this, how many of you know right now how much you invest in going to a networking function or networking each month? How many of you know exactly what that cost is, right? Including, do you allocate your time cost, right? Yeah, good. A couple of you, because most people go, networking's great, it's free advertising, it doesn't cost me anything. Bullshit, right? It's rubbish. And by the way, if you haven't noticed, I do swear. If you're offended, be offended, right? So it's one of these things that you need to really understand the math on. Okay, you've really got to calculate that. So as an example, and I've done a really basic, simple one, and I hope you are paying more than $50 an hour, okay? But I've just done it for simple math. But let's just say that you attended 5 networking events costing $500. They're $100 an event, right? And you allocated 10 hours of your time at an hourly rate of $50. Once again, I hope you pay yourself more than that, but if not, that's cool. You made 30 connections, scheduled 12 appointments, created 8 sales opportunities worth 20 grand, and closed 4 deals at 5 grand, right? Would that be okay? How many of you can honestly say right now that you actually look at the numbers in that way? I'd be shocked if it's more than 2, yeah? So this is the thing, and it's once again, it's not bad. It doesn't make you, oh, you're just about the money, you know, that most Australians go, oh, that tall poppy syndrome. How dare you be focused on actually being a profitable business owner and a responsible parent? How dare you? Well, yeah, I will dare, thank you. So it's about being very clear on these things, right? So we have this calculator, and it's a sexy Excel spreadsheet. In fact, it's a Google sheet. Ooh. Happy to share it with you, right? Happy to share this with you. And what I find is it just makes life so much simple. So we've rounded some numbers here. That's why it's $20,004 on the end. But this is the thing, like the spreadsheet here, you can just add in the yellow boxes. Okay, well, my event cost for the month are X dollars. My time cost is X dollars, right? How many connections did I make at those events? So tonight I spoke to 5 people, or I spoke to 15, whatever that is, right? Great, how many connections? Great, now what is the typical percentage of connections to actual meetings scheduled? Oh, is it 40%? Is it 15%? Is it 60? Whatever that percentage works out, great. So I met with, on the first one, 30 connections cost me $33 a conversation. Second one, 40%, I scheduled 12 meetings. It cost me $83.33 per meeting. You can start to get to those numbers and go, okay, cool. So this is how much it's actually costing me to invest my time, energy, and effort to go to these meetings. That could be a really cheap thing. It could be super expensive. It depends on the way that you look at it and the type of event. I will go and spend 10, 15 grand to fly to the US and go and speak at an event or do whatever, or just attend an event for the opportunity, right? People go, you're mad, they're not paying you to go, you'll drop the money. And I'm like, yeah, because every time I go, if I spend 10 grand, I know I'm typically going to generate 50 to 70,000 on the back end within 90 days. So it's like, I know the math, right? So you just got to think about this. Deals closed, great. From those appointments, how many deals did I close? Oh, we closed 33%, so we got 4. It cost me $250 essentially for every single deal that we closed off the back of networking. That generated, we had five grand in lifetime value as an example, generated 20 grand, so we had a pretty good ROI on networking that month, that week, that quarter, however you want to map it out, right? Is that useful? Yeah? Because I could be wrong. I do speak to a lot of small business owners, but I would say that it would be less than probably 1% of people that actively network that would do that, right? And it's just really about getting clear on those numbers so that you can make better decisions. Like, we can all be honest. How many of us have been to networking events, like I said at the beginning, where we go, why do I even go to this thing? Like, it's great to catch up with people, but it's not really moving me forward in the business. Okay. Now, there could be other factors in that, how you're rocking up and presenting, how are you working the networks, all of those things. But you might need to make a decision and go, hey, you know what, as much as I love going there, it's not beneficial to the business right now. So I need to allocate that time, that energy, that money resource to maybe something else. Right? It's those little things. Another example is, let's say your target audience is accountants, okay? Let's be honest, you can go to events like this, you can go to Chamber of Commerce's, BNI, whatever, you know you're always going to get a handful of accountants. You're guaranteed, right? But if you're like, you know what, I've got a really set program, process, system, or whatever solution for accountancy firms, wouldn't it be worthwhile going and dropping $5,000 or $10,000 to go and sponsor a CA event or a CPA event, try and get on stage speaking or exhibiting, and actually be in a room of 300 accountants? Like, the cost of opportunity is so much better. Not to say that you shouldn't do the other one, but when you look at the math and you can start to calculate those numbers, you can start to go, well, hold on a second, this makes more financial sense. That's what I'm trying to get you at, okay? So I'm going to leave the math there for right now because we've got a lot to cover. So what I want you to do is pull out your sheet, go to that page. What I want to know is, what's your takeaway or your next action around the math, okay? I just want you to just write something down, just have a think. Don't overthink it, just go, okay, what was insightful about that, John? Oh my God, you're boring, right? That's cool. And then if you would like the calculator, just tick the box and I'll make sure that we email that over to you. And while we're doing that, does anyone want to say one of the things? Let's pick two people. What do you got? Who wants to shout something out that was useful for them in that? Yes.
I'm in the wellness industry.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And I work specifically with cancer and chronic
Yep.
disease.
So wellness industry, cancer and chronic disease.
Yep.
Yep.
I'm an author.
Mm-hmm.
And I've always found it very difficult, particularly within Australia. I mean, apart from my early years in, when I was first publishing in 2009 and 2010, where I got a lot of PR and marketing and newspapers, television, all that kind of stuff. In today's climate, with so much of the pharmaceutical companies taking over, how do I step over that, apart from doing editorials and things like that for newspapers and magazines? And, I already have a pretty good following on all the, social media stuff.
Yep. So how to get traction?
How do I create those dollars so I can help more people? That's where I'm sort of sitting, because it makes it difficult, because when you do the work I do, you get judged and people, because there's been people in Australia that have lied about their shit.
Yep.
And so how do I overcome that to make that profitable within Australia?
Yep.
As I said, so I can help other people.
Yeah, cool.
While I'm struggling, I can't get that message out.
Yeah, cool. So getting the message across to ideal target market within Australia in the health and wellness space. So number one, this is the biggest thing that I see with small businesses. Will your market even pay you money to actually give them a result? Okay. So if you're just selling, and I'm not saying this because obviously we've met 2 seconds ago, but if you're selling a $50 book, unless you're JK Rowling, you're probably not going to get rich, right? So it's, what is the strategy behind that? Like, how do we, I know I want to get the book in the people's hands as an example, but what's the process? What's the systems? What's my offering? I got to drop this mic down. Sorry guys, I keep hearing the back noise. What's that solution that we're trying to sell? How do we package that up? And it might very well be that the market that you really want to help isn't actually the market that you sell to. That could be your charitable market, and you sell something else over here that produces the cash flow to go and give that to those people. Yep.
Free services.
Yep. Stop it.
To me, I'm
Yep.
not doing that anymore.
Yep.
To me, the book, I want the book to make $1 million.
Yep.
I want to sell 1 million books internationally.
Yep.
I don't believe that books can't be sold like that. It's not because I'm not J.K. Rowling.
No, it's just a completely different strategy. That's all it is. Personally, I think books are simply a business card of credibility. I would be giving a book away for free every single day of the week, because they typically cost about $15 printed and delivered. So cost to me is like $15. The conversation off that, how much can I generate off the back of that? different business model. So yeah, we don't have time to go into that, but it's a great question. Let's talk about it. Awesome. All right, I'm going to keep moving through just in time. So let's talk about your networking system. That's right, and I'm not talking about like drawing pyramids or anything like that, okay, just so we're all clear. Although, while we're all here, no. What I'm talking about is building a systematic approach to your networking. So how many of you right now, and once again, I want you to be honest because I'm just being honest with you all, how many of you right now, we go back to that, oh my God, I'm just lost with time, right? I just don't have time. Or I feel I have the experience that I don't have time, even though we've all got the same amount of time. So you connect with somebody at an event like this. Maybe you connected with the phones on LinkedIn before, and then radio silence. Or you might try and call them or flick them an email once, and then radio silence. Right? How many of you, be honest, how many have experienced it, whether you're the one doing it or somebody else? Most of us, right? So wouldn't it be easier if you actually had just like a process that you could follow? And just being, once again, the dumb and boring side of things, what do I now do? Okay? And this is coming back to being strategic with your networking. So what your structure needs to look like is really these three things. It's pre-event preparation, okay? Number one. What event am I going to? Who is going to be in attendance? Maybe you don't know the actual individuals, but you have an idea of industries, sizes of business. Maybe there's a couple of key people that you're like, you know what, I know that this person attends, I really want to get some time with them. So what's that pre-event preparation look like? What's that during event engagement? Who do I want to sit with? Who do I want to spend time speaking to? What is that time limit? And it's okay to be not rude, but it's okay if a conversation that you're having is really not going anywhere, move, right? You're there to network and to connect with people. You do it in a polite way. Hey, this is fantastic. I'm just going to go and meet with somebody else. Some people get really afraid of doing that or get upset. Oh, I know, I really just want to speak to these people. Yeah. And then most importantly, that post-event follow-up. Okay, so as an example, we work with some fairly big companies out there, and they attend a lot of conferences. So they're typically spending 150, 200 grand just to be at the conference. And this is a big strategy for them. So we're using like LinkedIn, list building, getting really clear on certain verticals and all of that so that we can organise coffee meetings at the event, get people to their booths, drive them to their presentations, like all of those things. And then most importantly, once we've finished the event, well, we want to make sure that we continue to keep in contact and drive some more sales conversations. So it's the same here, just on a different scale, right? So what could an email, for example, once again, you're going to get all the slides, right? So this is an example, and I've got a bunch more emails that you can utilise. This is just a really simple one, and I've tried to template it as much as I can for you. But if you sit there and you go, you know, hi John, it was great connecting with you at insert event name. Geez, that was hard. I enjoyed our chat about insert the specific topic that you actually spoke about. I enjoyed our chat about, you know, playing golf on Saturdays. It was fantastic, you know. I'm glad that you're playing golf with your daughter, you know, like personalise it, right? Especially your insights on, mention the key point, your insights on the new tailor-made clubs that you just got for your birthday. I love tailor-made, right? I've always, you know, blah, 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 blah. Meet fellow business owners who are passionate about a shared interest. So what is that shared interest? Like fitness on the weekends, golf, spending time with their family, growing their business, whatever that is. Hey, I remember that you mentioned insert your specific challenge or goal that you discussed. Listen, I remember that you mentioned that, you know, right now you're struggling with getting time back and you really want to focus on building systems in the next quarter so that you can actually get out there and do some more with your time, right? You know, finding better ways, blah, 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 blah. This is a common challenge that, you know, many of us face, blah, blah, blah. If you'd like, I'd love to have a chat, right? If you're open to it, let's set up a call, right? It's pretty simple. But you can see, even though that's templated, can be hyper-personalised, and that's just like a very basic overlay, yeah? So how many of you, are just out of curiosity, are using a template, a little framework that you go to, yeah? Each time. So just a couple of people, yeah. So there's probably a little bit of room for improvement on there. And I see this a lot with small business owners, is that one of the common things is like, I'm always in Outlook or Gmail having to resend the same email, right? Some of them will have a Word document or a note file and they'll copy paste insert name. But this is stuff where with the right systems in place, all of these little things can be merged fields. So you can go to your CRM, pull up your networking form and just add in those conversations that you had and hit send, start automation, and then email goes out, and then a task is scheduled for you to connect with them on LinkedIn. Another task is there to pick up the phone and call them. Oh, if they haven't replied to the email, send them an SMS. Like whatever that process looks like. And if you build that process and you're happy with that, then it's just rinse and repeat every single time that you go to a networking event. Add them to a sales pipeline. Great, I know that I need to have that conversation with this person. Is this making sense? Yeah, cool. So just to scare you, which it's not scary, that's just like a little simple thing, but that could be like, you know, just a simple process, right? Oh, so, you know, we connected on LinkedIn, maybe I'm going to send, you know, 3, 4, 5 LinkedIn messages after that, not bombarding them, not going, hey, my name's John Bellamy, it was great to connect with you, do you want to buy my crap? Hey, you haven't responded to me in 3 days, why don't you want to buy my stuff? Are you still there? How many of you get those messages? Are you still, oh my God, drives me insane. So adding value, like sharing some insights. If you want a really awesome tip, if you just do this thing, I can pretty much almost guarantee that you'll add 6 figures via LinkedIn in the next 12 months. Have we all heard of this thing called loom.com, like a screen recording? If you personalize a video to a connection, this is what we're talking about on that article. If you personalize a video as part of your connection and send it to them, you will make money, right? Hey, John, I noticed that on your website you had this. I'm a website guy as an example, right? I noticed on your website that your H1 tags and your meta images or something, I don't even know the lingo, but you know, all of those things are impacting your SEO. Instead of me saying, hey, can I guarantee you first page on Google? I noticed these things. Let me actually bring up your website. Here's what I would do. Listen, whether you want to have a chat with me or if you just want to do it yourself, that's cool. I just wanted to share that info with you. Hey, by the way, I've got a couple of other ideas that you might find of value. Just let me know and maybe we can jump on a call. That works its backside off, right? It's all about consistency. So that's just something like as a, you know, pretty basic diagram that you can have a look at. All right, so I'm going to stop there on systems because we can literally speak for a week on building a system, right? So what I want you to do is pull out that magical piece of paper that you all have. Come on, I'm going to wait until I see everyone's writing them down. I want to know, what's that takeaway for you in the system side? Like, what is that one thing? If I just implemented this in my business this week, tomorrow, next quarter, how is that going to impact? Yeah, what is that? Is it, maybe it's just templating that post-networking message. Maybe it's actually just going, what do I want that process to look like? How many touch points do I want, right? Think about that. And then if you would like a free ticket, we've actually got a workshop that's going in depth on this in the next couple of weeks. If you'd like a ticket to that one, it's an online one, so you don't have to be physically anywhere. Just tick that box and I'll make sure that you get an invite for it. Cool. Any questions before I move on the system side? We got 5, 10. Sweet. No questions? Awesome. Clearly covered it. Fantastic. All right, finding your rhythm. How many of us feel like sometimes we're out of whack? Once again, it comes back to that, I just don't have enough time. I don't know what I need to do. Ask Rebecca about that. She's going through a pretty big growth curve. That's my partner, Rebecca. Give everyone a wave, Beck. Yeah, going through a pretty big growth curve in a business. She has done a spectacular job. The business isn't even 2 years old yet, and she's just killing it in a great way. And she gets home this afternoon, and she's like, and she's just got so much stuff on. But it's cool, right? And it's all about finding that rhythm to be able to keep moving forward. Looking at hiring more team, putting the systems in place. So for me, it's meaningful connections, not just contacts, okay? That's what we want, that's what we're looking for, right? So when it comes to networking, I want you to, again, go into that and develop a plan. I see it all the time. I'm sure we've all experienced it. is that people will come to networking events, and I used to call it, we ran a networking company in Brisbane ages ago, and people would come there and they'd be like the business card bandits. And it'd just be like, I've handed out like a whole box of business cards and where's your business card? Give me your business card. And then I'd be like, yeah, there you go, because I know I'm never going to hear from you. Like, you will never follow up. It just goes in a Rolodex in the drawer and then, does all of those things. So you really need to have that plan of attack. Less is more, okay? So personally, when I come to a networking event like this, I really want to make 3, maximum 5 meaningful connections, okay? I'm happy to connect and speak with other people, but I only want 3 to 5 that I'll really go and follow up with. Why 3 to 5? Well, for me, it's manageable. I'm not setting myself up for failure. I'm not like, holy crap, I'm now going to go and speak to 30 people in the next week that I said I was going to do. I don't have time to do it, blah, 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 blah. I'm trying to rush through calls now. I'm late to an appointment. I'm doing all this stuff, all of those things, right? It's mayhem. So 3 to 5 is a really good number. If the event's got like 50, 60, 3 to 5. If it's an event that's a conference where, I don't know, there's like 500 people, maybe you do a few more, but maybe it's each day that you only want to have a few conversations with people. But you've got to identify those events of interest, okay? Critical, okay? Do a Google search. How many of you actually speak out of curiosity, like, or would be okay at speaking at events? Yeah, cool. Do a Google search. So many people still don't know this. Go to Google and go call for speakers or call for papers, insert like industry, okay? So call for speakers, Sunshine Coast, or I'd probably go Australia, and then marketing, or healthcare or whatever. And typically it will produce all of these events that are coming up over the next, like you might put 2024, 2025. It'll pull up all of these events that are coming up that are actually looking for speakers, right? Similar to like SourceBottle, where they want people to contribute to articles and stuff. But Google will give you that information, yeah? Go to the Chamber of Commerce websites, use Eventbrite, just like we've all used Google. Go to LinkedIn events and see what's on, but plan your events, okay? I encourage you to mix a few up. There's probably a few events that you go to regularly right now where you go, okay, well, you know what, I don't have more time to allocate, but if I miss that one at that event that I usually go to and I'm going to test out this other one at the moment, that's okay, yeah? Because remember, you're doing this to grow your business, yeah? And if people don't like that, that's, once again, it's their problem. It's not yours. You were responsible for you. Remember, you all signed a document, right, before. Oh, I hope you did anyway. The other thing is, like, outline your goals. Like I said before, 3 to 5 meaningful conversations. Okay, so if I have 3 to 5 meaningful conversations, how many actual calls or scheduled consults am I going to have off the back of that? If it's 5, maybe I have 3. If it's 3, maybe I just have 1. But I really want to like do a little bit of research. I want to have a look at the person's LinkedIn profile. Doesn't mean that I don't care about them or I'm not going to give them value or anything like that, but my time, just like yours, is valuable, right? I will personally, very rarely, like super rare, would do a coffee meeting, ever, right? Personally, I'd rather just jump on Zoom. We can work out where it is. If the call is a waste of time, we'll wrap it up. And it's, once again, it's not being mean, but I respect their time as much as I respect mine, right? So if I can't help you or if I don't know where I can direct you, that's okay, So that you really want to be thinking about that. Like, what are those outlines of the goals? Remember, we did the math. Once you start getting into a rhythm and you start seeing what the math looks like, if you're doing other forms of paid media or anything like that, and you know your cost of lead is XYZ, make sure that your networking cost is, pretty similar to those types of price points, okay? Or you get a better return on investment so you can pay a little bit more, right? Once again, it comes back down to the math. And the final thing there is you've got to focus on the follow-up. If your follow-up is, I sent them a LinkedIn message or I sent them an email and that was it, you're losing the game. You're done. Right? Here, if you want to hear the brutal facts, you need to be emailing your database, worst case, once per week. Worst case, right? Ideally, every single day. I do usually 3 to 4 times a week, okay? Now, I'd say that, and I know a lot of people are going, holy crap, I'm lucky if I do it once every quarter. All of these email communications and builds and all of that out there, it's all about engagement now. So if someone hasn't engaged on your database in about 30 days, they're pretty much dead in the water from an email perspective nowadays. So you need to be having that constant process of how do we follow up. It doesn't mean I'm spamming people. It's like, what am I communicating about? How do I add value? How do I make sure that what we convey is pertinent to my audience? And guess what? People will unsubscribe, and that's okay. Yeah, that's perfectly fine. They can resubscribe later. But that's just an idea around email. You need to be doing it more often. Forget about like the long form newsletters with 36 different things that you talk about. Break them into single emails, right? So that's what I want you to think about there. Awesome. So developing your plan. Here's an example plan just to give you an idea. Once again, you'll get this in the slides. But yeah, like, set your clear goals. Primary goal, generate 25 qualified leads per month from networking, okay? Secondary goal, establish partnerships with at least 2 other local businesses that we could cross-refer businesses with each other or put in front of each other. Identify your target audience, like who is it? So here's like a really basic one. Small business owners in the service-based industry, example, plumbers, roofing, personal trainers who have XYZ problem. Okay, start getting clear. Where are they? Well, local business events, industry conferences, networking groups. Create a networking toolkit. So maybe you use business cards, right? What does that look like? From there, professional design, key information. What's that elevator pitch look like? How do I make sure that that's pertinent? Bring a story in. Hey, you know how a lot of people are really time poor and they struggle with systems? Well, that's how I help them, blah, 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 blah. Go through that. And then follow-up system, emails, LinkedIn, meetings, case studies, SMS, like whatever that looks like specifically for you, right? Once again, don't set yourself up for failure, okay? I always look at a good, better, best model, okay? So as long as you're hitting your good, like you're good. Right? Whatever that looks like. I think far too many people, as we all know, try and achieve way too much in too short a time. I want this to be consistency, right? So look at that. So I've got a free gift for you as well that you can grab. Once again, you don't need to worry about that. What I want you to do right now is just go down to the rhythm component, and I want you to write that takeaway for you. What does that rhythm thing look like? Maybe it's a number of networking events. Maybe it's developing an actual plan that you've got to be putting in place. What does that specific thing look like for you, right? So write it down and someone shout out what it is for them. I'd love to hear. Lynn, what's the rhythm for you? I'll just put you on the spot. Yeah.
So people will say, how many new clients do you need? Well, that depends.
Yeah.
Are they quarterly, 6 monthly, are they daily, weekly? Is their turnover 20 million? Is it 100,000?
Yeah.
So it's really hard to determine. It just depends who comes along. And I don't know quite how to figure being in control of that.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'd probably, from your perspective, I'd probably look at an opportunity pipeline value, right? So it might be, if I know that I've got $50,000 in opportunity value in my pipeline at any given month, we know that we're going to be okay. That might be 5 clients or 50 clients, but we know that we're going to convert X amount and it's going to produce the dollars there. Maybe that's something, or maybe you break it into a couple of different categories. You might go, okay, we know the less than 5 employee tradie who's doing under $1 million. If we can get a handful of those clients, that would be great. But then we also want one of these corporates. So in my case, for example, like we have like a group coaching program, and most of our clients are like typically 150 to 750 grand. And then we've got other clients that are between sort of 30 million up to 200-300 million. Obviously, we speak to them completely different, right? So personally, I only ever want like 3 clients that are on that higher end because they take so much more time. Don't get me wrong, the money's great, but they take so much more time, right? So you just got to be looking at those numbers, yeah, which is fantastic. All right, any other thoughts or feedback before we wrap this up for tonight? Has this been useful? I just want to make sure I always find it interesting to see how everyone reacts. Yeah, because like I said, this is about you and your business, right? I just want to help you guys. Yeah, question?
I've got a question. been in the medical device industry for 40 odd years, and prior to what happened with COVID, my product was in all the hospitals, medical centres.
Yeah.
Now what's happened, it's been kicked out and it's been replaced with a large pharmaceutical chain. I now have to go back to the grassroots to have my product aligned with large databases.
Yep.
And just recently I was approached by a representative of the Police Federation for Queensland looking for their members to... That's the sort of guidance that I'm looking for.
Yep.
I'm a designer, I'm not a marketing...
Absolutely. I hear you. Yeah.
So at my age, I'm 74 years of age, I've now got to reinvent myself.
Or partner with somebody who can...
That's right.
Yeah, who can do that for you.
Because
Yeah.
my product is now attracting so much attention. I've done ads on TV, some appeared and some didn't. And reluctantly, I have to say, I even got raided by the federal cops
Yeah.
about what I was told when I was in China about why the virus was developed and blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
It was a whole lot of bullshit. So, and,
Yeah.
I'm looking for guidance now to get the people who genuinely need it the most.
Yeah.
And the age grouping for that used to be, before COVID, it was over 55, 60. Now it's over 40, 45.
Yeah.
Due mainly to anxiety attacks and stuff.
Yeah, like for me, like from what you said, once again, this 2-second conversation, right? So for me, I'd be looking at identifying partners that can help get that message out. And so, for example, LinkedIn would potentially be a great way to go and find those people, potentially other influencers or organisations that have got that scenario. Like as an example, you're seeing a lot of big corporates now that might be in the financial services industry buying up other companies in different industries. That's sort of what we're looking at that small scale. So here, guys, what I want you to do, if you haven't got these already, I want everyone to pick these up right now. Make sure you got your details on there, right? Pick them up. I'm going to wait. Sorry, Luke, we're just going to spend time. Fantastic. Now, are you ready for it? It's going to be really hard. I want you to scrunch it all up. Scrunch it all up. Do it. Come on. Scrunch them up. I can't hear it. I've got to hear the scrunching, people. Yeah. And just throw them at me. Let me have it. John, you're a bastard. Why did you do those things? Yeah? Why did you do those things? Now I've got to clean all these things up, which is great. So I appreciate it. I really do hope you guys enjoyed that. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm not going to leave them on the ground. We're going to collect them up. Beck, I know you've been doing stuff all day. I'll pick them up. It's okay. Beck runs a cleaning company in the over 50s estate, so I'm not going to get her to clean up after me. So I'll pick them up. If you put that information on there, congratulations, because I'll actually be in contact and I'll be able to help you. If you didn't put your information on there, congratulations, and I wish you the best of luck, right? Because it's the game. Like I said right at the beginning, I'm here to help. I'm here to help, just like you, those that want to be helped. So I really appreciate your time, Luke. Thanks for having me. Hope that was of value. Thanks.